Hey, what's going on, my fellow Detroit Pistons fans and fellow Tiger fans? Welcome to my sports channel. I am Anubis, I'm Archer. Hope you're feeling good, smelling good. Even though lately we've been hosting nothing but FC24 gameplay, this is a sports channel that's covering all sports and going to have both sport gameplay and just sport discussions. This is a sport discussion video, so we're going to talk about the Pistons and the Tigers. I might do another video about the Red Wings. Maybe we'll throw them in here as well. Depends. I don't want this video to be too long, so we'll see. So we want to talk about the Pistons season. It went kind of exactly how I thought it was going to go. If I'm being actually honest, people, I didn't expect this to be a good season. The reason why is because when we signed Monty Williams, I knew he wasn't the right guy. You got to be careful signing coaches who don't even want to be there. The thing you have to understand when it comes about Monty Williams is he didn't want to be a Piston. He wanted to take like a sabbatical and take like a year off from basketball in general. He had no interest in being a coach this year. But the Pistons offered him so much money where he couldn't say no. They offered him so much money where it's like, damn, I'm gonna be set for life to coach a team that I don't even want to be a part of, and they know I don't want to be a part of that team because Pistons' first choice was Ime Udoka, but he didn't want to freaking be the coach. And my guess would be he didn't want to work for either Gores or he didn't want to work for Weaver. Weaver, as being honest, when it comes to Weaver, he's not a good GM. So we have basically, I think, it's our worst start. Our worst season ever. This franchise is an iconic franchise. This franchise is a championship franchise. This is a team who won, back-to-back championships. This is a team who beat iconic teams. Think about the early 2000s Pistons. That is one of the most beloved Pistons teams by basketball fans because they did what they did, beating the Lakers who had Shaq and Kobe, hanging in there with the stacked Spurs team. People love that team. Even people who are Pistons fans, they love that Ben Wallace and Rasheed Wallace, Tayshaun Prince, Rip Hamilton, Chauncey Billups, Lindsey Hunter on the bench. Like that Larry Brown Pistons freaking team. People love that team, even though they weren't Pistons fans. People love Detroit basketball because Detroit basketball was something unique and different than most basketball. It was kind of old school. It was defense oriented, and then you had people like Billups and Rip Hamilton who could hit those big shots. And then you had the bad boys in the 90s, in the 80s, who were, competing with, the Showtime Lakers. They were competing with, the Larry Bird Celtics. And they were competing with the Bulls that were led by Michael Jordan. If you watch the Bad Boys documentary, Michael Jordan credits the Bad Boys Pistons for why he became the Jordan he is that we know of today. Because he had to evolve his game because he was getting bullied and battered by that Pistons team. So he had to alter his game to combat that Pistons team. And so you think about that, you think about how historic this franchise is, and they won 14 games. Now, I don't know if this season was intentional, but I know the last couple of seasons have been intentional. I know this team has been tanking on purpose the last few seasons because they're trying to get that number one draft spot, and it never happened. They keep doing it, keep taking games because they think they're gonna win the lottery, and they never win it. So it's like, at what point do you just say stop doing that and actually try to fucking play? First off, I think tanking is an embarrassment to any sport franchise, especially one of this magnitude. When you are a team who is a multiple time championship winner, a team who has a lot of Hall of Famers, a team that has big standing in the NBA, your name used to mean something. The Detroit Pistons, Detroit basketball, and you're sitting here tanking. And again, I don't think this was the same. I think this season they thought they would be a better team, and they weren't. And the question becomes, well, why? I said before that I don't think Gores knows basketball. And they just hired yesterday a head of basketball operations. So basically just someone who's going to be working with Tom Gores and someone who's going to be working. I think that's like what the exact thing was. The report was that he's going to be working the new head of basketball operations that they haven't hired him yet, but they're going to hire one. It's going to be someone who's like that in between. It's going to be the in between between Gores and Weaver. I don't think Weaver should be in the team again. I think both Weaver and Monty Williams has to go. Gores is going to have to eat that money. Luckily for us when it comes to sports, the coaches contracts are not part of the team's actual salary cap. So it doesn't matter if you have to pay him. That money comes out of Gore's pocket. So Gore, who's a billionaire, is going to have to eat that money. And he probably doesn't want to, but if he wants this team to be a better team, he's going to have to. Weaver has to go, and so does Williams. Williams isn't a good coach. He lived off being on that Suns team that had Devin Booker and KD. So of course he's going to be supposed to making the playoffs. Look at who he had on his team. There's no KD and Devin Booker on the Pistons right now. Primarily because the GM isn't good at being a GM. We were gaslit into thinking that Weaver was some kind of guru who was going to, draw in, have some great trades that makes this team a better team. He hasn't had a single trade that means anything. The draft picks have been solid. Like we have to be honest to the draft picks. Cade Cunningham is great. He has the potential to be a superstar. Jaden Ivey is very good. He has the potential to be a superstar with the right coaching. Jalen Duren is a very, very good player. Marcus Gasol is a good player. So there's been some good draft picks, but there hasn't been good free agency signings. It hasn't been good trades. And part of that is because either A, Weaver isn't a good salesman, or B, the players who will be considered top tier or all stars or even like a little notch below that, they don't see the Pistons as a team who's going to be in the playoffs. Because if you're that caliber player, you want to be in the playoffs. You don't want to be someone who is on a team who's intentionally tanking. Because again, the last few seasons, they've been intentionally tanking. You wouldn't be on that team. They're tanking. That they're trying to suck for Wemby and didn't even get him. And so now when it comes to this team right now, if you're a free agent, you're like, all right, that team is a mess. They're about to hire head basketball operations. Maybe that works out for them. I don't want to freaking work for Monty Williams. I don't think he's a good coach. Weaver doesn't really like he knows what he's doing. I don't work like so. If you're a free agent, you're looking at that. You're looking at this team doesn't look competent. This team doesn't look like it's capable of being ran well. Why would I want to go to that team? Because of the history? I'm trying to win. The history don't mean shit right now. I'm trying to win. I'm trying to get money and I'm trying to win. They're gonna give me the bag. Do they even have the money to give me the bag? If not, then I'm definitely not coming to that team. I ain't coming to the team to lose without making a lot of money. Y'all gotta pay Cade Cunningham a max contract. I ain't coming to that team when y'all can't afford me. Especially because if you're trying to sign me, and before anyone go, no one's trying to sign you. Duh. I'm speaking as if I was a free agent in the NBA who is a top tier player. You will need to do better than that. You're not going to be drawing in anybody. So I think the Pistons right now is an embarrassment. The Pistons are the embarrassment of Detroit sports right now. And if you would have asked people that 10 years ago, they would have laughed at you. They'd have been like, nah, not the Pistons. No, they're not the embarrassment of Detroit sports. No way. It's got to be the Lions. Lions are a playoff team. It got to be the Tigers. The Tigers suck, but they get things done. They're not as bad as the Pistons. But the Red Wings, are they getting the shit together? Yeah, they're fighting for a wild card spot. So the Pistons are the worst team in Detroit. Yeah, unless you want to count the whole state, you might say Michigan State. It's an embarrassment. So let's shift gears and talk about the other Detroit team, the Tigers. So the Tigers are a team who started off very hot. They started off the year 5-0. They were the last unbeaten team in baseball. I feel like that when they were marketing that, not the Tigers were marketing it, but like baseball is marketing that. They were posting the Tigers are the last unbeaten team in baseball. It's like there's 100 plus games, like 116 games in baseball. Who cares about April? Who cares about someone going 5-0 then 5-1 in April? In a sport where there's 110 more games coming. And it's like, do not buy into the false goods. The Tigers didn't do anything in the off season to warrant thinking that they will be a drastically better team. Like they went from 5-1 to 9-7. And the question is why? Well, the answer to the why is the same reason why they did because last year. They can't hit for shit. Excuse my language. The Tigers can't hit. And they haven't been able to hit throughout the entire time AJ Hinch has been the manager. And I was saying AJ's a bad manager. I don't think that that's the case at all. But at the same time, who in the front office, whether it is Chris Ilitch, the Scott Harris, who's who's in there now, they just hired somebody else to be in the front office as like an assistant to Scott Harris, and AJ Hinch. Who in that front office is making the decisions on who to sign and who not to sign for free agents? Because when the free agency happened, there was a thought process where the Tigers said, "Oh, this is gonna be the free. This is gonna be it. This is gonna be the free agency period where the Tigers actually do something. They got all this money. They're gonna go out there and get somebody," and they didn't. They signed some mediocre pitchers like Kenta Maeda. They signed Jack Flaherty. And those are like mid-tier starting pitchers. And the thing is, the Tigers didn't even need starting pitching. Like, yeah, they lost Michael Lorenzen, but the Tigers have a pretty stacked minor league system when it comes to pitchers. So when you signed Kenta Maeda, that made Matt Manning expendable. So now Matt Manning is sitting in AAA instead of being a starter in MLB. And if you compare and contrast, you might have been better off just having Matt Manning than Kenta Maeda. You could have had any. Just think of anyone. Alex Faedo could have been a starter over Jack Flaherty. And I'm not saying that Flaherty's doing a bad. I think he's doing okay. But my point is, you spent money on those. You spent a lot of money on those two players when you didn't need starting pitching. Yes, you lost Eduardo Rodriguez, but again, you could have promoted someone from the minors. And then when it comes to hitting, now you want to be gun shy and be like, "Oh no, we don't want to sign any hitters because we want to save those positions for the young talent." And it's like, but you didn't do that for the pitchers. You didn't save the roster spots for the pitchers. So why are you doing it for the hitters who aren't hitting? We got to make sure Colt Keith and Parker Meadows have a way to play a lot of games. We needed a third baseman. And instead of going out and signing a guy like Matt Chapman who can hit and play third base, you want to put McKinstry at third base. You want to put Matt Verling, who plays outfield, at third base. Sometimes Colt Keith, who's also going to be playing second base. When Gio Urshela isn't playing second base, he's playing shortstop because Baez is still bad. That's what our rosters are now. Our roster, when it comes to the infield, is just shuffling around the same players to different positions because we don't have good players. But you could have had a guy like Matt Chapman play third base and be a good hitter. And then you could have had JD Martinez play DH. But no, we don't want to have him play at DH because we have a surplus of outfielders, and we want all those outfielders to get a chance to play. We want to have, if we're not starting Riley Green at center field, when we have Parker Meadows at center field, then Riley Green's going to be our DH. If we're not starting Kerry Carpenter at right field, then we want Kerry Carpenter to be the DH. Oh, you're doing all this shuffling of the young talent, but you if you want to win games, you got to be able to hit. You have to be able to hit to win games. But you didn't sign any hitters who are known for being big time hitters. Gio Urshela isn't known for being a big time hitter. Matt Kana, who they also signed, isn't known to be a big time hitter. I think he leads the team in freaking home runs at 3. It's like you didn't really do anything. And you kind of get this feeling that like Ilitch is scared because he spent a lot of money on Javi Baez, and Baez have not paid off. So I think he's scared to go out there again and spend big money when the last time he did that, we got Baez. But I think the difference is you could spend money on JD Martinez, who would have been probably like a 1-year deal anyways. And his only job was going to be to hit, and you can rely on JD to hit. Like if there's one thing you can rely on in baseball, is JD Martinez to get you some runs. But no, Ilitch and Scott Harris and AJ Hinch didn't want to have that reunion because JD Martinez used to be a Tiger to begin with. This team is still the beginning of the season, so we can't get like too down on them, but they can't hit. That's their issue. It's not pitching. They can't hit. The bullpen has been solid, during AJ Hinch's time because of Chris Fetter. The pitching has been solid because of Chris Fetter and AJ Hinch. You went out and signed 2 mid-tier starting pitchers. You signed some mediocre hitters, a couple of mediocre hitters, because you didn't want to, gatekeep the young talent from being able to play more. So what are we as a fan supposed to do? What are we as fans of the Pistons and Tigers supposed to do? Just accept that these teams aren't performing well? You're expecting us to buy jerseys, to buy tickets, to buy merchandise, to all this stuff and come to the games when you're putting in no real effort to make these teams better. Teams that are known to be championship teams. The Tigers have championships. This is a team where when they had Verlander and Scherzer and Marcelo and Prince Fielder, Miguel Cabrera, they had the stacked roster. They were the team to pick for the World Series for like 5 years in a row. They didn't win one, but they were the favorites because they were a stacked team. They were a video game team. They were a team that you would get if you just start trading top tier players to one team. And they went from that being a perennial playoff contender to just being a team who can't even hit. It's ridiculous. So the last thing we'll talk about in this video, and we'll wrap it up, is the Red Wings. The Red Wings are currently the shining hope for Detroit sports right now. And they've had a weird season. They've had times in this season where you feel like they could beat anybody. They had times this season where you feel like if they were in a 7-game series with any team in the NHL, they could beat anybody. Then they have games where you're just like, who the fuck is this team? What is this minor league team doing in the NHL? Why is this AHL team here? Because they couldn't play defense. They couldn't do basic things. And you're just like, this is not a good team. Then they go back to being a team that just obliterates top tier, that can compete with top tier teams. So it's like, you don't know what to make of the Red Wings. And right now they're sitting in a position where they have to rely, I think, on 2 teams to lose, and they have to win out. I think there's 2 games left, if not 1 game left of the season. They are currently a bubble team trying to get to the playoffs that don't even control their own destiny, because even if they win out, they don't necessarily get into the playoffs. They have to rely on teams losing. Let me pull up the wild card right now so I can actually see for a fact. Right now, let's switch scenes. So this is the wild card race for the Eastern Conference. Right now, the Red Wings are in 3rd. There is no 3 spots. There's just 1 and 2. The Lightning have clinched, so the Red Wings are just competing with the Capitals to get that spot. The Capitals, trying to see how many more games they have left to play. I guess we just have to pull it up. But the Red Wings have one more win, but in the same number of games played, but also have 1 more loss than the Capitals, right? They have the same number of points. So what the Red Wings will need is for the Capitals to lose their games. Let me see their schedule. They play against the Flyers today. So the Red Wings need the Flyers to win. And that's just that. They need the Flyers to win. And I haven't paid attention to the Flyers this year because I only watch the Red Wings. So they seem like they're decent. They seem like they're not even like that. Flyers seem like they're on the same path as the Capitals in terms of win percentage. They're actually favored negative. They're actually favored to win. They're favored to win that game tonight. The Red Wings need the Flyers to win this game in order for them to get to playoffs. And I'm pretty sure I think it's like the last game, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, this is the last game. So the Flyers have to win this game for the Red Wings to get in. If the Flyers don't win, and of course it's not just that the Flyers have to win. The Red Wings also have to win their game. They play against the Canadiens. The Red Wings have to win this game. This is it. Like this is the moment. If they win and the Flyers win, if the Red Wings win and Flyers win, the Red Wings are in. It's just that simple. So they are the last shining hope. They're the team who we're hoping to get back into the playoffs. And for a lot of the young sport fans out there, y'all don't know just how dominant the Red Wings were. The Red Wings were the team of the sport of hockey. Like they were the Yankees. They were the Celtics. They were the Lakers. They were Barcelona. They were Real Madrid. They were Manchester United before United became trash like they are now. They were the team. They were the most popular team in America. They to this day they still have the most championships by an American team. Not in the entire sport that goes to the Canadians, but by an American team they have the most championships. They had the longest playoff streak in a major U.S. sport at 25 years. For 25 straight years, they're going to playoffs. So this is a historically amazing team who kind of just started slumping the last few years, and now they're on the cusp of being back into the playoffs. And that matters a lot to hockey. Hockey's in a better position when the Red Wings are winning games. Hockey's in a better position when the Red Wings are present. The NHL needs them in the playoffs. This isn't like some kind of like fan comment. The NHL needs the Red Wings in the playoffs. They need them. How do we know this? Because the NHL revealed those statistics themselves. The NHL reveals statistics that shows the most watched hockey team of the season is the Red Wings. That their best numbers comes during Red Wings games. So for the NHL, they need this team to be winning because this is where the ratings come in. The NHL is thirsty for ratings, and this is how they're going to get it. They get their ratings by the team who's known as being America's team in hockey being successful. You know, they need this team to be good. They need this team to get the playoffs so they can get that money from people who are obsessed with watching the Red Wings hockey. So it's like, and they can. Like I said, they're a team who can beat anybody, you know, but at the same time, they're a team who sometimes, you know, their defense just lacks. You know, they can score, but like sometimes you can't rely on the goalie. No matter who's in that, you can't rely on, whether it's Huso or Lion, you can't rely on them. You can't rely on the defense. Yes, Sider is amazing. There's Ghost Survivor is great. But like you can't rely on the defense. You know, there's more than just them on defense. You can't rely on them. You know, some people are bad at getting the position. There's a lot of turnovers. Like there's things about the Red Wings where it's like, God, you're so good, but damn, y'all make some of the dumbest mistakes. And if they get to the playoffs, they are a dark horse team because of the fact that they are a team who can beat anybody. If they get to playoffs, they are the dark horse. But that's if. Anyways, that's it for the video. Thank you for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Y'all stay safe. Be kind to another. I'll be your boy, Nimbus Game Archer. I'll see you when I see you. I'm out of here. Deuces.